Welcome to the Inner King Initiative podcast. I am your host, Adam Wilson. And if this is your first time with us, I just want to thank you for checking me out, man. This is a platform that I decided to create for us men. A lot of us don't have safe spaces. A lot of us are struggling to find ourselves, our inner king. And so I want to bring guests on who are going to help pour into us. This is a learning experience for me too, right? And remember, do the big three for me. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a review. Send this to somebody who you feel like can really benefit from this episode. But I want to introduce my guest. This is a fella I met, and this is the power of networking, man. We sat down, we had a conversation, and we realized we had so much in common, right? Yeah, down to his bad decision for an HBCU. But we're going to let it go, right? And so I just want to introduce Jarrell Liner. How you doing, bro?
Doing good. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you.
Good,
the HBCU thing, that wasn't a bad decision. It's probably the best decision of my life. Alabama A&M. Shout out. You see what he got on his shirt, we
The greatest. That's why it's a G.
But yeah, but definitely appreciate you having me on the King's Initiative, man. I'm excited about it. Excited about the direction you're going with this and the space that you're creating, man. Because, like I said during our initial conversation, it's definitely something that's not only needed, but needs to be reinforced.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And supported. So that it could be something where it's normal. Mm-hmm. We need to normalize this. So yeah, man.
Absolutely.
100%.
And I think your story is powerful, bro. From someone who's battled so much felony charges and all these things. Like, let's talk about that. Let's go back to your childhood. What happened?
That's a big question. I guess I'll kind of sum it up initially, and then I'll kind of go back and really add some context to it. I really wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
But at the time, I didn't know any entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. There was no such thing as social media or anything like that. So I kind of struggled, and just to kind of put it in to a bottle here, what I went through in my childhood really kind of climaxed in my teens. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is, they say it takes us 4 years to graduate high school. I took 5. In regards to that, in and out of school, a lot of fights, a lot of suspensions. I was a kid that went to the alternative school. I was raised in Atlanta, Georgia. I went to Oakwood Alternative School. I don't know if it's still out there, but yeah, I was just a kid ultimately that ended up at 6 different high schools in 5 years. Okay. So you got to imagine, I never got comfortable anywhere. Right.
Yeah, always on the move.
Yeah, always on the move. And, there was a home life that involved me having my mother and my father in the same household. And my mother is an amazing woman, but my father had some demons that he was dealing with. You know what I'm saying? And for me, like I said, in those years when I'm 14, 15, 16, looking for direction, looking for somebody to show me how to be who I'm supposed to be, the example that I actually saw every day showed me what not to be. But when you're younger, you don't understand that.
Yeah, you don't think about it at all. You're going off what you see.
And it's funny, man, because I actually went to virtually, I went to a conference this morning, and they were talking about your primitive questions that you ask yourself.
Right.
And there's like 6 or 7 of them, and they're like, am I safe? Am I wanted? Am I loved? Right. And I think for me as a child, or even as a boy, it's 2 things. You want your father to be around.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. And you long for that. But then it's another thing when he may actually be around, but he gives you no attention. Right? Or he maybe is not answering those primal questions that you have as a child. Am I loved?
Right.
Am I valued? Am I enough? And I think for me at that time, not I guess getting the yeses to those questions caused me to lash out. Right. And I think, for a lot of us, especially, people I hung out with, I think we were all doing the same thing. And it's just, we were fighting, just walking around, just with a certain chip on your shoulder, what I'm saying? Right. And just always looking for something, looking for somebody, looking for a way to, in all honesty, release the anger that you walk around with every day.
Walk around with that pride.
What I'm saying? Like, for me, getting in a fight, get suspended, literally the first day back.
You did it again?
And they're like, you got to go.
Dang.
You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like, and that's the problem is like, you get to the point where you don't even know why you fighting.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
You don't even know why you doing the things you're doing. You don't even know why you're making the choices and decisions to go left when you know you need to be going right. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, my mother was dealing with with me, dealing with my father, dealing with us together, you know, the drama, you know what I'm saying? But ultimately, man, like I said, my journey kind of led to my second senior year. I ended up in Nashville, Tennessee. You know, my mom moved. She's like, we got to go. You know, we got to get somewhere else. End up in Nashville, Tennessee. You know, I had to sit down with principals at the school. They're like, you know, we let you come in here because at that point I'm 19 years old.
Right.
And they're like, you should have been
gone by.
Yeah. What's up? Your transcript, like, you got a 0.8 GPA, like, bro, like you ain't even trying. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's up? Like, why you even here? And you know, just getting through that and understanding, man, like, it's crazy because it's one of those things you think about in hindsight. Like, you really do want to do right.
Right.
But in those moments, you feel like the things that you do, those are the only options that you have.
Mm-hmm. So hearing this, it really points to one of the points that I always talk about is, like, as a father, you can't just be in the home. You have to be present in the home, right?
Yeah.
Because you see it. I'm home. I'm there. I'm doing X, Y, and Z, but I'm not paying attention to my kids, and my kids feel that.
Yeah.
Right. And that's when you get those behaviors, like you said. I don't even know why I was fighting.
Yeah.
And there was times, like, I used to get in trouble too because I had that dad who was there, but he wasn't like physically, like, not physically. He wasn't like present. And so I was at school lashing out and stuff, but at the same time I didn't get caught. So, but I understand the behavior. Yeah. And so when you're thinking about that in hindsight 2020, like, can you really say it affected you that bad, or how has that helped you in your own fatherhood journey?
Well, just to kind of finish it up, yeah, it did. It hurt me in the beginning, but ultimately it's helped me as a father. But as a child, it hurt me, and I can say that, and you know, I can admit that. You know, I ended up going from fighting to stealing to getting arrested, to where, you know, I found myself basically standing in front of a judge that had 17 counts. 16 counts of burglaries, 8 counts of burglary, 8 counts of theft, 1 count of contributing to the delinquency of a minor, and probably something else, I don't know, but ultimately it was 17 counts. And it was my first offense, and it was like 3 to 5 years for each one. Of course, they'd be concurrent or whatever, but I'm looking definitely at some time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just from breaking into cars, breaking into stuff, stealing, and man, the day that I got arrested, that's probably when a switch went off. Okay. Because the day I got arrested, you know, it's at night. It's a Tuesday night. I'll never forget it. We went out to a soccer game. Me and my boys doing what we do. We breaking in cars. Then we went to apartment complex. Got some more stuff, got some more inventory, you know. we were pulling out. Next thing you know, it's just police cars everywhere. It's like a movie. Boop, right. Boop, 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 and all you see is lights. I'm talking about, they came out of nowhere. I don't know where they came from. They came around the corner and boop, 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 boop. And man, all I know, that it was a blur throughout that whole evening until you get to the point where you got to call your parents.
How was that?
I can't explain it to this day, but it's a fear that I wasn't scared to, you know, when it came to, if I'm gonna box you, if I'm gonna fight you or whatever, it don't matter how big you are, right? If it don't matter, and you know, out there, I wasn't scared of nothing, but in that moment, I was scared to call my mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, more scared than I ever been. And, you know, I called her. She knew what was up automatically. I don't know if she saw that I was calling from jail, but she already knew. She was like, where you at? Boom, boom, boom. Got off the phone, and it was short and dry, and then she popped up. But long story short, a few hours later, she's taking me home, man. And it's just like the disappointment that I saw on my mother's face. I promise that ride was probably 15 minutes, but it felt like 15 hours. Whew. It was just it wasn't even the pissed off type of pain. It was like a disappointment.
You never really want your parents to be disappointed in you.
Yeah, and it's like it's because she had been pissed off at me before, right? And she had you know, yelled at me and all that. But in this moment, she was quiet. She was calm. She said what she had to say, and that touched me in a way that I never could have imagined. Like, that night, man, I got home. I was throwing up in the bathroom. I was literally, like, physically sick. You know what I'm saying? And to your point, like, how did that affect me? that time that I was going through whatever I was going through, doing whatever I was doing, 3 or 4 years, there were so many, I guess, lessons or so many tidbits and so many things that my father should have shown me that I should have got even from my mother, from the community around me that was trying to help me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I missed out on all that. So I wake up basically at 19 like, bruh, I can't do this. Mm-hmm. I can't go down this path. So I try to go down the right path.
Okay.
But because I'm missing a lot of tools in my toolbox.
You ain't got the right tools for the job.
I don't know how to be someone that's, decisive. I don't know how to be somebody that's determined or dedicated and able to set goals and put in the hard work to get to that, because I always ran from that. You know what I'm saying? And I never saw that in my own father.
Right.
I never saw hard work. I never saw struggle and then getting on the other side of that. I never saw, even proper communication between a man and a woman. It was so many things that I missed that I didn't even realize I missed until I decided to go in a different direction and decided to step out of that world. And, for me, honestly, I wandered, man, for 10 years, doing stuff, always ambitious, always wanted to be an entrepreneur, always want to, help people, want to do things positively. But, I always found myself going down paths that led to dead ends. And a lot of times it was myself. But in the moment, you want to blame people. Ah, man, this didn't happen. This person didn't come through. This opportunity fell through, blah, blah, blah. But if you think about it, if you rewind things, a lot of times you can always go back to the point to where you saw something or something you was made aware of, but you ignored it.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you were looking away at something else that was possibly shiny or whatever it may be. So for me, I struggled, man, and I ended up, in my late 20s, I was married. My son was on the way, bought a house, went to school, got out.
Bad choice, but
yeah. I was working the oil and gas, man. And honestly, I lost it all. I lost my job, and probably within 18 months, my whole world crashed. I was divorced, house was foreclosed, my truck was repossessed. I mean, man, I had a garbage bag, and I was staying in an extended stay motel off of Tidwell.
That was cheap too. Well, not
It
in
was
that case.
125 a week. I never forget.
Those are typically like the ones where most people go to.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying? But
and just being in that area over there off of Tidwell, it was not pretty. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, that's where I found myself actually coming from Katy. That's where I lived. I lived in Katy, had a house, the whole nine. Found myself, man, right there, sitting in a extended stay hotel, man, like with nothing except literally a bag, some clothes, and whatever else I had in this little cash card that I had. You know what I'm saying? So in that moment, it's like, bruh, I stopped going down this road. I'm trying to, do the right thing, but because I didn't have the tools, because I didn't have the guidance, I didn't have any mentors, I didn't have any examples, I didn't have really anybody ever really asking me, what do you need?
right, because as black men, we don't get asked that much.
Exactly. And for me, it was just about, hey, you made some choices and decisions earlier in your life, and now you paying the consequence. And that's what people would tell me. That's why you're struggling. That's why you can't get up. That's why you got this hanging over your head, and all these other things. And it's like, in thinking back, and you talk about like we don't have certain spaces, like literally, I can remember 1 million people that told me what's wrong.
All right.
1 million people that told me what I'm doing wrong. 1 million people that told me you going down a path that's gonna lead you to this. But I can't really name too many people that set me down and said, bruh, what's really going on? Like, no, like what's really going on? Are you good? Are you dealing with anything that I can help you with?
But sometimes that's all we need. Somebody just to stand on the hand and say,
those
I'm here to
3
help.
questions
Could change your life.
could change somebody's life.
Especially a young kid, a young teenager.
Exactly.
And that's why this part of you, like everything you share is really powerful for fathers, because we should be aware, like, especially if you got young kids and they're coming up, they're going through challenges, and you have to learn, like, all right, I have to be there. And at least, we look at kids sometimes it's like, oh, you haven't been through nothing, you just starting out, right?
Yeah.
But it's those simple questions. It's like, okay, what do you need help with? Like, what's wrong? Can change the whole trajectory of their lives.
Yep.
Right. And so you've been through all this. What shifted?
What shifted? Initially, like I said, when I found myself facing, I guess, jail or whatever, that shifted, right? But then the shift, when I found myself 20 years old with nothing, the shift went from, why is this happening? Why am I going through this? And why can't I not fix this? To what do I need to do so that my son doesn't see me dealing with this?
That's a whole nother boss, a whole nother beast right there.
Honestly, just at
your
that
son
time,
watching.
because by that time, like I said, I had a young son, and I also had a daughter as well that I had in college, but she was living in Mississippi, but my son was here.
He could see you,
and he saw me every week, regardless of what I'm dealing with, regardless of what's going on. Every Wednesday, I go get him to go to dinner, and then on the weekends, he with me. Okay. Then he went to every other weekend as he gets old and whatever, but I tried to not ever show him what I was dealing with. So when I'm sitting in that extended stay hotel, when it comes time to get him, his mother may know what's up, so I get him and I spend the day with him. You see what I'm saying? But then I go back to this. And ultimately, that was the shift, man, when you realize that there's somebody else out there that needs you more than you realized before. And when you can understand that and you can take on that responsibility as really a man and as a father in that moment to say, whatever I do or don't do will determine his options later on in life.
That's true.
And looking at my own father, and it's funny because, like I said, he had a lot of demons, and to this day, on this day, we have the best relationship ever.
That's beautiful.
In that time, he didn't give me anything. He didn't give me any tools. He didn't give me any resources, really, in regards to how to be a man. He showed me how not to be. And so in that moment, you have to understand, I'm trying to figure out my life, and then at the same time, figure out how to ultimately not impact my son, because not thinking about it then, but now kind of reflecting on it, I didn't want him to deal with, number one, what I dealt with as a child. And number two, I never wanted his reality to be what my current reality was.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Understandable, yeah.
So I mean, that was the shift. And then from there, man, it's boost the ground for me. And it was, number one, figuring out, well, not figuring out, but revisiting my gifts and talents. Because like I said before, I knew when I was 6 years old, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. But I didn't know any entrepreneur. It wasn't social media. They weren't all over the place. None of that existed. But for some reason, that word, although it wasn't
stuck with you,
although nobody in my life was that, for some reason I saw that word on TV or something. I don't know, but I used to tell my mother all the time. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, when I drifted doing whatever I was doing in high school,
lost sight of it. Put
that aside. And then even after that, wandering around doing whatever I can to kind of make money, trying to pick myself up, trying to right my wrongs per se. I once again strayed from what I was supposed to be doing. And, God told me something this year that I wish I would have known back then, but he told me, I will only sustain you in your disobedience. And it's like, and in that phrase came a whole revelation. It's like, do we get to choose our dreams?
All right. We're all made for a specific reason already. We just got to find that reason.
But
that's part of finding the inner king.
But do we get to choose it?
I think he gives us a choice, yes.
Or is it given to you?
I think it's a little bit of both. Go ahead. What you think?
Because for me, I didn't wake up one day when I was 5 years old and say, you know what? I don't think I want to own a business or something. I want to, you know what I'm saying? It was something that just was placed on my heart.
All right.
So I feel like if God gives you something, a mission, a vision, or whatever it may be, some people say the universe, whatever it may be, if it's given to you, then you have a responsibility to fulfill that.
Yeah.
And if it's, if you talking religiously, and if it's something that you say God gave you, if God gave you this dream 5 years ago, but your lack of faith and your fear and your lack of courage keeps you from getting out there and doing what you're supposed to be doing. If God gave you that and you're not doing that, then are you being disobedient?
You are, for sure. Because obedience means stepping into it no matter what, with the fear. And even if sometimes your dreams can be bigger than your pockets, but you still have to go for it and find a way to do it.
Exactly. And that's the thing. For me, it was like, I will only sustain you in your disobedience. I ain't going to let you die. I ain't going to let you destroy your life, but I did give you free will. Mm-hmm. I told you what's over here. If you want to stay over there, I'm going to cover you. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to sustain you. Mm-hmm. But you're still being disobedient.
Either you hot or you cold.
Exactly. And as long as you're being disobedient and as long as you're being sustained only, you will never thrive. And for me, that was kind of a click about a year ago.
Okay. Sometimes it takes time, though.
It does.
I think I'm not going to say I know, because I'm going to speak from my perspective. Sometimes God will give you a mission or something, and it's not for that current moment. It's to, like, this is getting ready to happen, so go ahead and develop yourself now. And I think a lot of the problem is we often kind of look at ourselves and like, I'm behind. Especially with social media, you see people on vacation, you see, out partying.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I'm at the house, I'm stuck, I can't go anywhere. Like, am I behind? And it's like, you really are exactly where you're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that you can slack and not go harder than you've been going. And sometimes just picking up a book is that one extra step that God wants you to take.
Amen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Speaking of books too, man, you've been through all that and you had this shift, and now we have your book. I Forgot How to Quit: Going Beyond the Breaking Point of Failure and Transforming Your Pain into Power. What brought about this book?
My own growth, my own falling flat on my face, my own busting my head in regards to trying to figure things out, and knowing that, and this may go back to my childhood, knowing that there was nobody around to ask me
what's wrong,
or that gave me the tools and the resources to help me figure out what's wrong. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So for me, this is actually my second book. I wrote another book a while back, but this book right here really kind of contains the framework that I created called the 4A Reset.
Okay, what's that?
And in life, I think this, for me, it applies to everything. And that's number one, acknowledgement. Acknowledging where you're at, acknowledging your situation, right? And then accepting that. And a lot of times in that acceptance phase, this is where you might have to forgive some people for doing you wrong. You might have to forgive yourself for making the wrong decisions, and stop holding yourself to this certain standard that is below what you're called to be. You know what I'm saying? So you acknowledge, you accept, and then you align. Because now that you've accepted, this is where I'm at. These are the mistakes I made. These are the people that I don't need to mess with no more. Okay, these are the things that don't work. What might work?
All right.
How can I realign with that? And then the last thing is action. Taking action, moving forward, getting back up, dusting your shoulders off, saying, yeah, that hurt, but I'm still alive. It's like, I used to play football. It's like, you get popped, you get the wind knocked out of you. You know what I'm saying? You gonna stay there?
Back up.
I play running back. So, you're going to get up and you probably going to get hit. And it's mentally, you got to know, I'm probably going to get hit again.
Right.
The next play. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so it's like, life is like that, bro. Like, at some point, you got to get up because the game is still being played around you.
Right. To hit the dirt, for sure.
Yeah. So for me, this is, kind of on that. This is maybe like a playbook, right? That can help you figure out, or really not figure out, but go through that process of those 4As. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of exercises in there. And that's really a workbook.
Okay.
And it's really, like I said, it's full of exercises, a little bit of my story, a little bit of context and examples, but mainly it's you doing the work and trying to get to the root of whatever your issue or your problem is, and then understanding that you got more power than you've been saying you do. Mm-hmm. And once you realize that, you can use that power to start getting back up. You know what I'm saying? So,
and that talks to transforming your pain into your power.
Exactly.
Because a lot of times we're trying to find our calling, our gift or whatever, and it's really, I summed it down to being the person that you didn't have in your life. Mm-hmm. like we said, we don't have safe spaces. A lot of us men who grew up didn't, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, I didn't have that. Let's create it. And even you saw the response. It was like a lot of men were like, man, me, like, let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, yeah. And for me, it was a shock because I wasn't expecting. But I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Like, I was just, but even when we talked, we said, man, a lot of us go through that stage where we're just in isolation. And I even shared with you, I said, man, that was the last 3 years of my life, right? And I was just sitting there, and it's long too. And it's like, man, there's days when you're breaking down. There's days when you just want to quit. There's days you're just like, what's the point, right? But you have to transform that pain into power. And so you're traveling and you're speaking and you're pouring life into people. Like, what have you seen while you're out there?
What I've seen is that you don't have to transform pain into power. Okay. I've seen that pain is automatically power. It's already power. It's either gonna hold you down or it's gonna push you upwards. But it already has power.
Okay.
So it's more so about figuring it out, and that's the thing. Like what I've seen a lot, just from talking to individuals and just through my own journey, is that we don't understand how to manage that power. Because we have to understand, like for me, we're all gonna, they say you shouldn't have fear, right? Or you shouldn't, if you have faith, fear shouldn't exist. But in my mind, fear is something that I want to have, and for me, that's a part of my power because my fear is going back to where I was. My fear is going back to the mindset that I used to have. My fear is not moving forward every day. My fear is going back to where I used to hate.
All right.
So I want to keep that fear. You know what I'm saying? So it's just so many of us, we struggle because the power that's already in us is holding us down instead of us realizing that if we shift our mind, we can use that same power, the fear that keeps you from getting up and going out and accomplishing your goals. In your mind, you could change that to where you have a fear of staying where you're at.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of us say it's so risky to do things. It's so risky to chase your dreams. Well, what are you really risking? Because on the other side, if you don't do that, if you don't become who you're supposed to be, what are you not doing? What did you not become? And who did you not impact because you wanted to be safe?
Right. And somebody's life is maybe dependent on you.
Right.
Answering your calling.
Because your fear stopped you as opposed to propelled you. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I've seen. Like I said, I think we all have a fear, and that fear has some type of power over us. It's just how is our mind processing that? Is it holding us back or making us like, man, I got to get out of here because I ain't supposed to be here. I got to go forward. I can't even get comfortable here. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I've seen the most, man, is just helping people make that shift to saying, hey, I got the power to make something happen.
And if you guys are enjoying this episode as much as I am, definitely send this to somebody. Like, share, subscribe, leave a review, leave a feedback for him, for me. This is powerful, bro, because like we all have that fear, right? I have that fear of being back in that Job season, like where it was just like, oh, me and my family are about to be homeless. I have that fear. I have certain fears too, and I think we all do, especially as men, because it's one where you have to go out into the world, fight all these battles, and then come home and deal with our families or whatever else is at home. So for yourself, how are you managing those fears?
How do I manage my fears? I control them. And that's a good question. Because like I said, I welcome fear. I embrace fear. I embrace pressure. And I feel like from that space, that's where I'm able to really be my best.
Okay.
So how I deal with that, every day I'm expecting to feel that. And if I'm not feeling that, then maybe today I'm not really doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So it's almost, how do I deal with it? I just seek it every day.
Okay.
Like when I get up, my whole thing, I got a morning routine, just like I'm sure a lot of us do. But part of that routine is really, aligning with what I'm trying to do or what type of impact I'm trying to make that day. What step can I make that day? What can I do that day? And ultimately, when you have that plan and when you have that understanding of you have power to be able to do or accomplish whatever you're trying to accomplish that day, that fear that you have or may have had, that's when you have the power of that fear to push you forward because you're seeking to walk into that. But when you're not prepared, or when you're not a person that's doing the work on the back end when nobody's looking, then when you wake up, you might have a fear just to leave your house because you might be exposed that you're not prepared, or you're not ready for this. You're not seeking this truly. You don't need this to happen. You want it to happen.
Right.
And it's a difference. Everybody want to be a millionaire. Everybody want to be successful, but who needs it to happen?
All right.
And when you need it to happen, you're going to get up every day. You're going to, whatever you got to do. And that fear is just going to drive you.
That
You know
fire, putting that fire in your belly. Because it's hard. And I think a lot of people want the success. We want the $1 million, but it's the work, the journey. We talked about that last time. It's the journey.
It's the
right?
journey.
Not the destination. It's the journey that is the beautifulness. Right. And your journey has taken you down, it has built you back up. And you know, we talked about God a lot, right? And so when was that first time for you where you felt like God was calling you and you just knew that everything was about to change?
I don't know the first time.
Okay.
Because I feel like
Understandable.
even as a child, you know, I guess it'd be better to ask my mom that. But I would literally, 6, 7 years old, I would tell them, I'm going to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
I'm going to be this. I'm going to do that. And my mom's, you know, okay, yeah, whatever. But, you know, she didn't know. I didn't know. But for some reason, like I said, I don't know where I saw. But I always knew that it was something I'm supposed to be doing.
Okay.
Just like I feel like we all got something we're supposed to be doing. And for me, like I said, the hardest part was understanding that I was capable of doing what I saw in my mind. Because before, the fear or the lack of maybe what I didn't have as a child, the lack of examples and all these other things could have led to a fear that maybe what I'm thinking is just a dream.
All right.
It's not gonna happen because ain't nobody else around me made it happen. So what I look like trying to make it happen.
That's the hard part too. When you got this dream in your head and you have no examples in front of you, and it's like, okay, how do I get here? But that talks to networking.
But this is how we get tricked.
That is how we get tricked.
This is how we get tricked. This is how I got tricked. And I don't know if anybody else been tricked like this. And it's almost like you get mad at God for this too.
Right.
I got mad at God. Because see, you can be in a situation or in an environment, and then God gives you a vision that has nothing to do with your environment.
Yep.
That's much bigger than your environment, right? And the trick is that God doesn't tell you how long that journey is going to be.
Of course not. Because I think if we knew, we wouldn't do it.
You probably wouldn't do it.
Because of the hard parts that come in the journey.
Exactly. You think the journey going to be easier. So if it's like today, if God showed me, let's do something simple. I'm going to own $1 million company. We'll just say that, right?
Speak it. I'll receive it from
amen.
yourself.
Amen. But if God shows me that, he's not going to show me a timeline.
Right.
He's going to show me the future. He's going to show me maybe a portion of it. This is what's down the road. But I ain't telling you how long that road is. And this is the trick, is because of the fact that we don't know how long that road is. Of course, naturally, we want that road to be shorter or as short as possible. And when it doesn't fit our liking, when it get a little too bumpy, when those corners start going a little too, and we don't know what's in front of us anymore. If it was a highway and we saw an exit to get off and turn around, I know I've gotten off the highway before.
All right.
Because you feel like I'm on this journey. I saw this vision. I saw what you got for me, but man, it's taking forever. And if it's not happening, then we quit.
All right.
We give up. That's why I forgot how to quit. It's not even in your mentality. I don't even know how to do that. I don't even know how to go backwards. If it's a vision, if it's something I need to do, I believe in it so much, I'm gonna push through as far as I can possibly go. They say shoot for the moon, you land in the stars. I may not hit that goal.
Because you're close.
But I'm close. And more so than that, like I tell my son, you know what I'm saying? Like he's 17 now, you know, in regards to what you want to do in life. Oh, you know, he playing football. You want to play football. You want to make it to the NFL. You want to make it to the NFL. And when I say that, I mean, bro, there's 100 ways you can make it to the NFL. Everybody want to be a player. You can be a coach, you can be a trainer, you can be a commentator, you can be all these other things, equipment manager. And guess what? If y'all mess around and win the chip, everybody get a ring.
Everybody, even the backups.
Everybody. The equipment staff. I think referees get rings.
They do. I never.
They do. So what I'm saying is when you see a vision, understand that a lot of times that vision could be placing you in a certain thing, and you have to understand that you may not get there, number one, when you want to get there, and then ultimately how you get there and where you end up in that space may be different than what you initially thought.
And that speaks to God's, he's on a different timetable as us. We think in Chronos, he's Kairos. Right?
Yeah.
And I can give an example from my journey, because when I first started podcasting 2-3 years ago, I saw this. I seen being in the studio. I talked about it, and for a while I was like, "Man, this ain't happening. Like, what's going on?" Like, co-host left, and it was, "Man, what's happening? You promised me." And I had those moments where I was mad at God, and like, "You told me this. You showed me this in my dream. Why am I still not here?" And looking back, it's because He can give you that destination where you're going, but everything you're doing from that moment He tells you on is training. I said every time I did a remote episode, I was training, speaking on the podcast, being comfortable in front of the camera, and developing myself.
Yep.
So now I can sit here and say, "Oh, I'm here," right?
Yep.
And this is even the final stage, because sometimes He'll give you a point, but that's not the final destination. It goes further than that. But He just wanted to get you that point to get you there. And even with your son, you're saying there's multiple ways to get to the NFL. And I think it was Inky Johnson who said it. He was like, he thought the same thing. He realized that he got hurt. And, Inky was top. He's about to get there. Yeah. But he said he's still there now, because now he's just speaking to the NFL. So he's in the NFL without being a player.
Still made it to the league.
Oh, yeah. There's multiple ways.
And that's just perspective, man. That's perspective. And that was a shift for me. And that's it's definitely a shift. I try to pour into other people in regards to your vision, is that it's not going to happen when you want it to happen. Number one, throw that out the window, because if you put a timetable, if you put a deadline on it, I can bet everything in the world it's not going to happen before that date. Right. Don't give it a date. It might happen well before that date.
Might.
Or it could be well after, but if you give it a date, then once you get to that date God didn't give you that date. Ain't nobody gave you that date. You created that date because you decide that's the date it needs to happen. But
I've done that.
but when you did that without any confirmation, then guess what? When you set that expectation and you don't meet it, who's the first person you're going to get mad at? God. And then number two is probably yourself. And then when you get mad at yourself, all that is quitting. Yeah. All that is deciding this ain't going to work. I'm tired of dealing with this. But once again, ain't nobody, the journey could have actually ended the next day. But because you didn't know, and because you had set the date of today, you never even got to tomorrow because you gave up today. And that was me. Like I said, God gave me a vision, but I wanted it to happen now. I need money. I need success. I need all these other things. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, like you were saying, the training is God is building your character, your integrity, the type of person that you are, and ultimately helping you shape the vision. Yep.
Because you have to become a certain person to get to where He wants you to go.
Exactly. So it's like, bro, like how you gonna if they tell you the chocolate chip cookies, if you got to put them in the oven for 12 minutes, if you pull them out at 6, it's not gonna taste good.
Right. It's not gonna be ready.
It's not gonna be. And in all honesty, it might even be bad for you if you get it out too early. It's not even cooked right. But if you wait the whole 12 minutes, then that's when they come out and you're able to enjoy what you allowed to bake or to cook or to grow or to materialize or whatever it is in life. But a lot of times we just don't know how many more minutes we got left.
Right.
But because we don't realize, because when you're really in the process, bro, like you value the cooking part of it. Mm-hmm. Like you want every day to get a little bit hotter. You want to grow a little bit more. Right. And it's not about the end result. It's just as long as I know I'm moving forward, I know eventually I'm getting to where I need to go. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's it, man. It's just having that mental shift to know that if you want a path, just focus on the day, focus on the moment, focus on what you're supposed to be doing now. Don't Don't try to project. Don't try to set unrealistic goals, and don't try to control.
That was a big one for me.
Don't try to control a vision that you didn't even create.
That was a good one for me for a while. I kept trying to control it, and it would go wrong. Mm-hmm. And then when I finally said, you know what, I quit. That's when it was like, all right, now we can start working, right? Yep. And it's crazy because it was some months ago. I was at church, and my pastor was talking about. He was like, man, who in here knows how to make a pound cake? My wife knows how to bake. So I was like, okay, it's a reference for you. Yeah. And he said, God is the ultimate baker. He said, when he's putting you in the oven, which is those development seasons, he said, he's going to take you out at the right time. Yeah. He was like, what happens when you take a cake out of the oven too early? He's like, it gets flat and it breaks down and it's not good. He was like, God knows when to take you out the oven. You just don't know when to take it. And it's getting too hot. So now you're just like,
beating on the door. Like, let me out now.
Let me out. I'm melting. Hold on. Right?
It's hot in here. You know?
Right.
But in the heat, that's where you're forged, in the fire, right?
Diamonds are made in the fire.
Man, yes, sir, all day. Hop outside. For those that know.
Oh, here we go. No, but it's in that journey. But I know there's a lot of men who are with families, without families, who are trying to make it happen. The fire is getting too hot. What would you say to that man who's willing to give up right now, who just want to throw in the towel and just said, I can't do it?
Remember, it's probably cliche to say it, but you got to remember why you started. And if that's your foundation, if that's what's driving you, and it's a solid why, then that should push you through. But if you're in the moments like myself, when I would, toy with the idea of quitting, or toy with the idea of changing directions, or this isn't working, in that moment, I was forgetting why I started, because I was letting the distractions of maybe what I wanted to happen, or the validation that I wanted, or what all these other external things to kind of blur out the real true vision.
Right.
And for me, if the vision is impact, right? The vision is using my own story, my own testimony, my own failures to possibly pour into somebody else. So regardless of, I guess you would say, success or accolades or social followings or whatever else, as long as I get up every day, and like even this conversation is a form of pouring. You're pouring into me. As long as I'm engaging in that, today is a successful day.
Right. I agree with that for sure.
You know what I'm saying? But like I said, when you forget your why, you forget really what you're supposed to be doing, and you basing it on maybe what's in your bank account, or maybe what's in your driveway, or what street you live on, or whose phone number is in your phone. When you don't have those things, that's when you start thinking about, oh, maybe this ain't.
Right. Who are you before the success? Who are you when you have nothing?
Yeah, because you're ultimately you have to. It's funny, bro, because you have to become what you want to be before you become what you want to be.
Elaborate.
So it's like and we'll just go back to sports because I think it's easy. If you want to be the best athlete in your sport, right? You want to be MVP. You're gonna have to put in the work before you become that MVP.
Right.
So what do? Maybe you look at other MVPs. You look at Jordan, you look at Kobe, you look at LeBron, we'll have that debate or whatever. But there's one thing about them that kind of separates them, and that's the work ethic. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like if I'm looking at a Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, and I'm trying to get there, I'm modeling what they do.
Right.
Before I'm there. When I'm a rookie, hey, Kobe, can I roll with you this offseason?
Mm-hmm. Basically finding a coach, somebody who ahead of where you want to be, or ahead of where you're
showing you that direction, and you have to literally become that. Mm-hmm. You have to become the dude that's working out every day. Become the dude that's the first one in the gym, the last one out the gym. Become the dude that works out on the days off. Become the dude that don't go out in the club. Become the dude that eat right. All before you even become the MVP, you have to become the person that MVP is. And a lot of times for me, it's a lot of I guess you would say reverse engineering, because that's kind of how I've helped people. Is like, if you look at where you want to become, then we'll start from there and we'll work backwards.
And study the greats. I think even in, like, we use sports for a reference. Really anything that you're trying to do, you can study any great man, right?
Yeah.
And because you can study like LeBron, Kobe, Jordan, Tom Brady, and just copy that work ethic. Exactly. It doesn't have to be exactly, oh, I'm shooting basketball, I'm about to go be, study basketball. That too, if that's in your profession, but just as a person, that work ethic, the drive, study that. Like, I was studying Kobe for a while, Mama mentality, and that helped me get back up. Because at one point I was like, you know what, I'm done podcasting. I'm done doing this. And I sat there and I studied it. I was like, And I even found a workout group full of men. We're all pouring into each other every morning, well, every other morning. And it's always a fun time. And I remember running, and Kobe popped in my head. We gonna work, but you're not gonna outwork me. And I could see the dude's shadow coming. I was going, and I wanted to stop. I ain't gonna see you, because I was getting tired, man. It was like 4 miles in. I was like, all right, I'm getting winded. But I seen that shadow, and I was just like, you can't outwork me. You can't outwork me.
I'm gonna die before you pass me.
I'm gonna die before you pass me. I refuse. And he didn't pass me. And I said, oh, Dad, that's crazy. I said, because it starts here. So when our mind says, I want to quit, if you say, no, we're not quitting, I'm in charge, your body's gonna follow suit. And that speaks to you when you said changing your mindset on it. Right? And that's why I say, why are we quitting? Why do you really want to quit? And you said, what's your why? And sometimes taking a pause and taking a rest and not being a part of that hustle culture is still making progress.
Oh, yeah.
I took 2 weeks around Christmas. I did nothing. I just connected with my why, because my why is my family, right? I sat with them. I played with my kids. I spent time with my wife. And I reconnected with my why. Top of the year, I'm like, all right, let's go.
Re-energize at that point. Yeah, exactly.
You got to re-energize. And like, even as men, I think we focus so much on like the family, the career, but when are you having those isolated moments with God too? Are you going to go into the wilderness, go into the woods with him? It's just y'all two. And getting that vision that you're looking for, getting the answers that you're looking for, and then bringing it back to your family. Or are you just like, well, he told me this, how do you know? Right?
You got to stay connected. You got to stay, and just, when it comes to God, I feel like if you do have a family, this is, I guess, just for me, because everybody I think is different, but in my mind, you can't really lead your family if you're not being led.
Or if you can't lead yourself.
Well, I don't think we're leading ourselves per se.
I think for his perspective, you have to lead your inner self. Like, you have to lead your mind. You have to lead your habits. God can tell you where the vision is, but you have to lead yourself to the point of like, okay, these are my habits I'm developing.
I got you. Definitely. Yeah, because, God will give you a vision, order your steps, but you got to be the one that 1 foot in front of the other.
You got to choose to do it.
You got to choose to do it, 100%. And that's the thing, like when you're at that point to where you're actually choosing to get up every day, choosing to take those steps forward, there's always going to be doubts. There's always going to be moments to when you don't think you can handle the fire, right, that you're in. But ultimately, if you look at a fireman, there's a covering that they have to wear in order to walk into a fire. Yeah. Right? Whatever that suit is called that they got to put on. Right?
I can't remember my brother's a firefighter, and I can't remember what it's called.
A whole bunch of people. But whatever that suit is,
fire suit.
It's a covering that they got to put on. So as a man, if you are leading a family, God is leading you.
Right.
And then you're aligned with that, and then that's your covering, protecting you, and ultimately you're protecting and providing for your family.
Right. Because you're not covered them.
And you're in the fire you were just talking about. If you don't got that on, how long you gonna last?
Not long at all.
Exactly. And then as soon as you go down,
family go down with you.
Guess what's gonna happen to the rest of your family?
Yeah.
So you gotta have a covering. You already know you about to go into a fire, just like a fireman. When they get the call, they already know it's a fire. So when they roll up on it, they ready.
Right.
And it's almost like you gotta be like that every day. Like you wake up, it's gonna be a fire today.
It's
gonna be a fire. But do I got my covering? As long as I got my covering, no matter how hot that fire is, no matter how many flames coming at me left and right, I'm gonna be able to make it. I might get hurt, I might get burned or whatever, but I'm gonna make it up out of there.
You remind me of the Hebrew boys when they got put into the furnace.
The what?
The Hebrew boys when they got put into the furnace.
Okay.
Yeah, but that covering was in there with him.
Yeah.
Well, he's that fourth man in the fire. That's what it made me think of when you said that.
Yep.
And it's like every morning you have to get that covering.
Man.
You have to. I know a lot of us, when I say us, because I don't do it no more, but a lot of people, they wake up and it's, where's my phone? My phone. Or it's, social media. This person texts me, that person texts me. But it's like, pick up your covering. Yeah. Spend time there. Figure out what you need to do for the day. Get focused for the day, because how you start your day dictates the rest of the day.
Yes, sir. And be a fireman in your life. Like, so many of us run from the fire, but they actually run to it.
Right. Some of us are scared of darkness too.
Because the only way to, I guess, have a fire subside, if it's, say, at a house, is somebody got to put it out. Mm-hmm. If not, it's going to burn everything around it, and it's going to go from house to house. At some point, somebody got to run towards that fire.
And put it out.
A lot of times, in regards to your family, you the only one that even got the strength or the ability to run towards that fire and do whatever it takes to put it out, because if not, your family's going to suffer. Your family may be hurt, and that could be the fear that I talked about earlier. If you got a fear of your family maybe ending up where you was at, that should drive you to run into every fire you see, as long as you know that if I get through that fire on the other side of that fire or whatever's at the top of that, if I can get through the first floor, if I can get to the top, it's a whole nother world for me and my family.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man.
That's why you gotta keep going, man. And it takes a lot of development in the dark. And sometimes we always want to be seen, and we're scared. I say we're scared of the darkness because we're scared to see ourselves. We're scared. A lot of us. I told you the other day. I said, how many people really brush their teeth in the mirror and look at themselves while they do it? And I had to look back for myself, and I said, man, there was a lot of times I'll get the toothbrush and I'll walk out to the room, go get my clothes, drop. You don't want to see yourself. Yeah. But it's like when you actually stand there in the mirror and you realize the darkness that's in you, you're like, man, I have to get going. And one of my favorite trilogies is the Dark Knight trilogy. And when Bane said, "You merely adopted the darkness, I was born in it."
Man,
and it was
I love that line too.
Man, that hits me every time I watch it. Every time I turn it on, I'm just like, again, like I have to. Like, you don't realize this is fire right here. But it speaks to that point of, like, you really have to go into the darkness and get strong. Like, Bane came out, he was strong, and he was taking over everything. Yeah. And it even took for Bruce to get dumped into that same darkness, develop himself, and come back and beat him. Right? And that's literally the internal war that we're having. That's why I said you have to lead yourself and rule within. Because you have to dig deep into that darkness and really go and unzip these bags and figure out, like, what's you and what's not you.
Man, that's powerful. And I guess one way to kind of tie it into what we were talking about with the safe space for men is if we all battling fires, if we all dealing with, whatever it is in our own personal lives individually, then that leaves more room for issues to arise. Because if I'm focused over here, what's ever coming behind me, I may not see it.
Right.
So it's like, just like firemen, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I bet you if a building was on fire, it's one fire.
Right.
Fire truck gonna pull up, is it gonna be one fireman?
Nah.
It's gonna be several of them. And a lot of times, certain ones only do certain things in regards to that specific fire.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
everybody got their job.
Exactly.
Because you can't be good at everything.
It's in life. So it's like if you got a circle, if you got some partners, if you got some homeboys, maybe your homeboy can help you in a certain way, or he in regards to building something, that's his gift. He can help you put that fire out. And then there's other ways you can help him.
Right.
Put his fires out. And as long as we helping each other, we rolling up together, we all hopping out the fire truck together.
Right.
The sirens going, and you got a whole crew.
Right.
Like, we about to put out this one fire.
Because you can't do it by yourself.
And then any other ones that pop up, we coming together. But at the same time, one dude is the dude that ain't got no fear of heights, so he'll hop on that ladder thing. He'll go as high as you want him to go. Right. It's another dude that's maybe super strong, so he over there putting the hoses on or whatever so he can get the water flowing. But at the end of the day, they're all using their gifts and their talents to help one fire be put out.
Yeah.
So it's like if we start battling our fires in our life by telling your boys, telling your circle, like, man, I'm dealing with this, and or even like we were saying earlier, people asking you, are you okay? You know, how can I help you? What can I do for you? If you get into that type of community, your fires don't really seem.
Yeah.
They don't really seem that big.
That
you see what I'm
daunting,
saying?
yeah.
You welcome them. You get up. Ooh, what fire am I gonna put out today?
Right.
How's God gonna show up today? How are we gonna make an impact today? Man, I can't wait till somebody try me today. You know what I'm saying? You're just looking for the opportunity to show God's grace, to show your vision, to show your purpose, to show in that moment, no matter how hot it is, I'm here and I'm gonna do everything I can and everything that I have the power and access to bring this down.
Absolutely. That's why it is important to have a community, because if you really study the greats, nobody did it on their own. Nobody. Even LeBron, Mike, and Kobe all had a team. And they helped develop those guys. Those guys seen their work ethic and they grew with them. Mm-hmm. And I forgot who said it, but I was listening to a podcast and buddy said, he was like, I'm glad I took my friends with me, because if I would have made it by myself, I'd be bored and alone. I said, ooh. Because you can't do it by yourself.
I would have made stupid choices.
Yeah. Or I would have never known this if you weren't around.
Yeah.
Because you might be good in real estate. I might be good at speaking. I might be good at this or that. And we can share knowledge. Yep. Okay, I'm trying to do this for my family. Help me, right? Mm-hmm. Help me. Give me your knowledge. I'll give you my knowledge. We good. Let's build the family unit together. But man,
just the accountability. Like, bro, don't do that.
That too.
Yeah. You ain't gonna, not in front of me. Or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, bro, you tripping. I tell my homeboys that sometimes we talk about, things we're going through, and I'll be like, you're wrong.
Yeah, exactly. But who's really got those people in their life that can really tell you what's up and really tell you when you doing what you don't need to be doing and really check you.
All right.
And that's just a part of manhood and then ultimately being able to receive that too.
You have to be able to receive it.
There's an ego that a lot of times will show up. Oh, you know, and now you want to puff up and all that. And like, bro, like if somebody that coming at you charging you up, it's probably because they care. Mm-hmm. It's probably because they actually want to see you do something more than what you're doing now. Don't take it offensively. You should actually be, encouraged that somebody's taking the time to see who you really are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because even just like speaking life, like I have a group chat, and I think, was it the other day? I was like, man, we were talking about the last episode, and it was like, man, you really inspired me. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, really? Yeah. Like, that felt good. Yeah. Because it's like not only, not because it's my homeboy, but it's like, okay, if I impacted you, who else have I impacted? Right? And so we have to look at it like in our friend circles, they'll be the ones who say nah or yay, right? Yeah. But wrapping up, I definitely want to thank you for being on, and we dropped a lot of good gems today. And this is, fellas, get you in community. Keep pushing, keep going. I know we have a lot of work that we're planning on doing together, so definitely stay tuned for that. Do you have any final words you have?
No, man, it's an amazing experience, man. I appreciate you having me on, man. Just happy to be here.
Right. Man, fellas, last thing, you are not alone. You deserve happiness. You deserve joy. You deserve to follow your dreams, chase your dreams, make your dreams, whatever you want in your life, you deserve it. So don't give up on yourself. Keep pushing. Love yourself. We talked about that earlier. That self-love is important, right? And so thank you guys again for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, leave feedback. And until next time, we see you next week.